We now move ahead to our next speaker for the session. And we have with us Ms. Latha Mangipudi. She's a Democrat, Honorable Member of New Hampshire House of Representatives from the Hillsborough 35th District. She's a member of the Municipal and County Government Committee. I welcome you, ma'am, and I invite you to give your speech at this Virtual Global Conference 2021. Ms. Latha Mangipudi.
Thank you, and namaste to all. I'm speaking to you all from Vermont, a state that is north of New Hampshire today, because I'm here to visit my first grandchild and enjoy the new life that has started a few weeks ago. It is with great humility and honor I am speaking today to honor the great leader, Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma means a great soul. Indeed, he's a great soul. Even after 7 decades of his core principles of life rings true today. Gandhi's purpose in life was to make life better for all people, whether it be dealing with poverty issues, individual rights, or economic independence. He provided a beautiful guidelines to achieve this with courage, what I look at as a yagna spirit, which our Indian culture has given us such a beautiful heritage of yagna spirit. So how do we deal with this? With courage, selflessness, and non-violent methodologies. His life was an example. His life was the betterment of his fellow citizens and the world. He had this beautiful view of the world, but not with just prescriptive and preaching, but he lived that. And looking at his core principles, right? Which was living economies, living democracies, democracy, not as a party, but democracy, a true democratic society, which are truth, non-violence, sarvodaya, and satyagraha. What I take out, I was born and brought up in Mysore to a very lower middle class family. I'm the 7th child of 7, the 7th daughter, 6 daughters and a son. My father was a true Gandhian, I have to say, looking back. And he showed by living that principles of Gandhi, how we can change, transform a society or life of people around us. So I have served in the New Hampshire legislation. This is my 5th term, 2-year term, so 10 years. And this has given me a distinct privilege and honor. At the same time, it's a huge responsibility. Having come here to United States as an immigrant, first generation immigrant, a woman, brown, and somebody who believes in a core value. So I want to reflect a little bit on what motivates me as an elected official here in a foreign country. But this has been I have lived here the longest of my adult life for over 30 plus years. So Gandhi also taught us by demonstrating how an individual being can train oneself to become a transparent and open, and also create synergy and cooperation between education, training, employment, and the community. And I can see I was very privileged and honored to be born in a family where my father embodied all this. And he was barely a high school graduate. He just passed SSLC in Mysore, and he became an employee in railways. And after his retirement in 1977, he moved, built a house outside of Mysore. And it was the first home in a neighbor layout. And we had no public water supply, electricity, none of those. He fought for transparency. He fought for, trying to get the basic amenities without paying bribe, without influence, and as an individual without elected official. So I saw a living example, and I feel that's a very big honor and a privilege. I didn't realize how it was until I moved here and started serving on New Hampshire legislation. So at an individual level, when you look at the global crisis that we have, or the, all the difficulties, problems that we face today, it can be very overwhelming. And I'll tell you, yes, it is overwhelming some days. I wake up, my first routine is I have to ground myself. And what do I listen to? Vaishnava Janato, 5 minutes gives me that energy to say, what is my focus for today? How can I, as an individual, make a difference? And how did this come about? Because as a practical, supreme practical leader for change, Gandhi showed that you have to believe in those core values, right? Truth, tolerance, sacrifice, joy, and nonviolence. And you heard the previous speaker talk about what America is going through. What is my reality on a daily basis? To be able to fight tyranny and achieve success in life, what do I have to reject? What do I have to reject? And that is, I've looked at different approaches, and it is not easy sometimes. But when we go back to what has given me the tool to fight that fight on a daily basis, to engage in my community, engage in life around me, and how do I make that the difference in people who look up to me for leading helping them on a daily basis? We can look at, I have to look at truth to be looked at as transparency in thought. So we have to look at, what are my thought process? What is my thought process in terms of what I'm going to do? Is it for betterment of just me? Or is it the betterment of just my family? Or is it the betterment of my community? Or is it the betterment of my people who look like me? And when the thoughts are coming, those are the values that I abide by or look at or look against. And the word and action matters a lot. What I say, it is not what I say, it is how I say, when I say what I say. So it is really a loka kalyana. So going back to Gandhi's 4 principles that it resonates with me every single day: truth, nonviolence, sarvodaya, and satyagraha. Truth, it is not easy. It is not always easy to hold truth at the forefront of what we do, how we say what we say. So truth, and in a world which is moving so fast, bombarding with so much information, and not every information coming at us can be translated into knowledge. So that's a big challenge. and for the youth, for the next generation who don't even understand or who are not there with, for India right now has the most youthful India, right? And when the world, India has 2/3 of the youth population of the world. 2/3 of the youth population, 19 to 32-year-olds, live in India. We have a great potential, with a great potential to harness this human potential and move India forward in terms of being the world leader. How can we do that? How can we do that? And because we have to ground ourselves in saying how India has given us, Gandhi has given us these principles, methodologies, and be able to show no matter where we are. His movement started in South Africa. His movement started in, he brought it back in India. So it doesn't matter where we are in the world. If we adhere to what he spoke about, what he practiced, what he preached, we can achieve a world with so much peace and harmony. Being able to apply a policy of refusal to compromise cannot be a refusal to communicate. So in a day where communication is like 24/7, you have social media, you have written, so many ways of communicating. But just by posting few things on the social media doesn't translate to communicating, building community, and engaging the community, building synergy around you. So the focus has to be on the information overload that we have. At the same time, how do we convert that information into knowledge that's applicable and, to bring peace, harmony, and equality and justice to the world around you? And it could be very overwhelming when I see the whole world and what is happening around. And when you think about it, what I think about is Gandhi's principles. Gandhi was a leader between two great wars, which was World War I and World War II. If he could lead, if he could try to bring some peace and chaos in a chaotic world, can't we do that now when there is so much chaos? What I'm facing right now is, inequality, voting rights, injustice, human rights, all these things. It's not just in the United States, it's across the world. It's across the globe. How do we work together to bring about change in the world that we live in? And, how do we make changes? How our actions, our thoughts, our life today can affect the small cosmos of the world around us. And if we can bring about change like that, it is like the little pebble that's dropped in a still water, the ripple effect. So the stone has the only ability to start that ripple. So as an individual, what can we do? And that is what Gandhi gave us. That is what Gandhi gave us in terms of how an individual can train oneself. So we all have to try, especially the youth, especially the leaders in the current day. We need to start doing that or showing that we can lead by transparency, truth, nonviolence, and satyagraha. Satyagraha is a very powerful tool, very, very powerful tool, but it cannot be used every day without fully implementing it. And I will give you an example. Last year at this time, I wanted to do a satyagraha, upavasa satyagraha, because my father had done that back in Mysore for electric rate hikes or water rate hikes. And so I had seen my father make a change in small way, in a small community in Mysore. And could I bring that principle? It wasn't easy. I wasn't able to implement that Upavasa Satyagraha in New Hampshire as an elected official to bring about, highlight injustice, inequality, the women's right, the voting rights, all the rights of individual rights were being attacked. Core democracy, principles of democracy was being attacked. And to bring about that change, I tried hard, but it was not easy, but I haven't given up. Because what did Gandhi teach us? To say, never give up, right? The fight is the beginning. It's not, end is not the goal of what we do. And the journey itself is the goal. And how we go through that process of journey of how we implement our actions, our words, and our thoughts. And there are so many things, climate change, again, human rights, economic inequalities, injustice. Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. And I am not willing to change how I look and what faith I practice and what party I belong to. It is just a platform, but what my actions and my thoughts are what is important. Yes, I'm a woman. I'm a first-generation immigrant. Yes, I am a Democrat. Yes, I am a vocal individual. All these things can be a deterrent for me to serve. And just erecting a Gandhi statue or saying I'm a follower of Gandhi or I'm a follower of any other leader, it is not what resonates with me. What resonates with me is his principles of who I am and what I do is critical. So, this is really important. And I want to leave everybody with this thought of, I will summarize what motivates me with Mankutimana Kagga, one stanza of it. Hullagu bettadadi, manage malligeyagu, kallagu kashtagala, malaya vidisuriye, bella sakkareyagu, ದೀನ ದುರ್ಬಲರಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೊಳಗೊಂದಾಗು ಮಂಕುತಿಮ್ಮ. ಹುಲ್ಲಾಗು ಬೆಟ್ಟದಡಿ, be the grass growing on the foothills. ಮನೆಗೆ ಮಲ್ಲಿಗೆಯಾಗು, be the ಮಲ್ಲಿಗೆ flower, jasmine flower in the house, spreading the fragrance. ಕಲ್ಲಾಗು ಕಷ್ಟಗಳ, like a stone, a rock during difficult times. ಮಳೆ ಕಲ್ಲಾಗು ಕಷ್ಟಗಳ ಮಳೆಯ ವಿಧಿಸುರಿಯ, when the problems are pouring down on a rock, nothing changes for the rock. ದೀನ ದುರ್ಬಲರಿಗೆ, when the really vulnerable people are going through that hardship, be the rock in their lives when the difficulties are pouring down. ಎಲ್ಲರೊಳಗೊಂದಾಗು ಮಂಕುತಿಮ್ಮ, be one with every human being, every living being. In totality, be inclusive, be together. Diversity and inclusion is part of a vibrant community. And thank you, Jaihind, Bharat, for giving me this opportunity to speak. And I challenge everyone to join this to bring peace, harmony, and vibrancy to our communities that we live in. Namaste.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm sure you can hear the thunderous applaud that everybody in the studio here is giving you, and I'm sure everybody across the world has appreciated your excellent speech. And so to say, young budding politicians, young women leaders like us too are so inspired by what you've shared here today, right from your personal journey to being into politics and into your social work. And the message that you gave at the end was not in a language that everybody understood, but it was heart to heart. So thank you so much for joining us. And from all of us here, a big congratulations on being a grandmother for the first time. And I hope you continue all your associations with our global movement henceforth. Thank you so much, ma'am.